did not do any ions as yet. ठीक है, अभी मैंने किसी आयन की आपको एग्जांपल नहीं कराई, उसी से आगे आप कंटिन्यू कर लेंगे एग्जांपल्स में, और टॉपिक हमारा ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर का ही चल रहा है. You don't need to give this heading again. नोट्स खराब नहीं करने होते. नोट्स खराब करने का मतलब है कि ये नहीं है कि एक टॉपिक की आपने, एक टॉपिक 3 दिन चल रहा है तो आप हर रोज आके उसकी बार बार हेडिंग दे दें, तो आपको पता ही नहीं चलेगा वो शुरू कहाँ से होता है. तो if a topic is continuing, what you can simply do is like put a date on a side कि जी इस डेट को यहाँ से आगे स्टार्ट हुआ था. ठीक है, एग्जाम्पल्स में like how many we done, 5 or 6? तो 6 के बाद 7th एग्जाम्पल आप यहाँ से ऐड करें. ठीक है, तो right away we'll start with an example of finding oxidation number of iron. आयंस का ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर IGCSE में कम आते हैं, बट ये ओ लेवल में भी कम आते हैं, मतलब बट वंस दे आर देयर, बिकॉज इफ यू हैव नॉट डन प्रैक्टिस तो फिर मुश्किल होती है, ऑल्दो इट्स वेरी इजी. अब लेट्स से इफ वी हैव दिस सल्फेट आयन, नाउ यू गाइस नो इट वेरी वेल, सल्फेट SO4-2. अब if in the sulfate ion you're supposed to find the oxidation number of sulfur, तो नहीं जरूरी थोड़ी, मैंने तो लिख दिए सल्फेट आयन की, वो तो मैंने तो सिंबल लिखा है ना, तो you might get the symbol of the compound, examiner might use words for it कि in sulfate find oxidation number of sulfate ion. तो sulfate is an ion which everyone should know कि it's SO4-2. अब इसमें हमें सल्फर निकालना है. ठीक है, ये मैंने निकालना है, अभी आप लोगों ने निकालना, नेक्स्ट आप लोग करोगे. अच्छा, अब आप देखें बोर्ड पे, समझे इसको जरा. आयंस ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर इज नॉट इक्वल टू 0. रूल्स में लिखा है किसी आयन का ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर इज इक्वल टू इट्स वैलेंसी, और इसकी वैलेंसी क्या है, -2. आई मीन इफ समबडी सेज के इज सल्फेट 0, तो वी से नो इट्स नॉट 0, इट्स -2. चार्ज इस पे प्रेजेंट है, और कितना चार्ज है, -2 नजर आ रहा है. So we take it equal to its charge, valency. पहले हम कल क्या कर रहे थे, we were taking it equal to 0 because compounds were 0, right? ये आयन है, ये 0 नहीं है, इस पे चार्ज है, न्यूट्रल नहीं है. अब जब आपने ये -2 इधर इक्वल कर दिया, after that you just simply ignore this charge because it's been entertained on this side. उसके बाद जो steps है वो exactly similar हैं कल की तरह. So sulfur is my subject, I'll write S for it, plus oxygen 4-2-8, that equals to -2, so sulfur would equal to +6. तो आयन में और कंपाउंड में the difference is that compound में you take the charge of the compound 0, but ion में you take the charge or the valency of the ion equal to that. ठीक है, और इसके अलावा इसमें कोई ट्रिक की बात नहीं थी, आप लोग ज्यादा गौर से समझ रहे हैं, इट्स बड़ा सिंपल सी चीज. आई डोंट हैव एनीथिंग एल्स टू एक्सप्लेन. उमर कम, यस, मैंने कहा था लेकिन इतना गौर से आई फील लाइक आई हैव मिस्ड ऑन समथिंग. अच्छा, अब आप लोग करेंगे कुछ एग्जांपल्स, एंड वंस यू गाइस आर डन विद इट, then I'll move on to reduction, definition, oxidation, redox, and examples, right? So I'm listing some ions, and you guys try and find the oxidation numbers of those. So this one is like nitrate ion, NO3-1. इसमें we work out nitrogen. जिसको मैं underline कर रहा हूँ, that one you have to work out the oxidation number. Ammonium ion. Ammonium ion में nitrogen. परमैंगनेट आयन MnO4-1 में मैंगनीज. Okay, Fatima and Amna, you guys will tell me the oxidation numbers of nitrate and ammonium ion, and you can type it in the chat. Like Fatima आप बताओगी नंबर 8 का नाइट्रेट में नाइट्रोजन.
Sir, +5.
I won't be able to hear you, but if you just type it in the chat. Yes, that's correct. Good. Amna, if you're done with the next nitrogen in ammonium ion, so type that also. Online वालों को भी check करें. Okay, well, so how about nitrogen in nitrate, Saad? +4, right? I think it's wrong. Nitrate में nitrogen +5. Lisa is correct. What joke correct करो? +5. So nitrate, we take it equal to -1. But see, what we are doing different is that the ion's charge is equal to its valency, right? It's not 0. The way we were doing it 0 yesterday, it's not 0. It has some charge, right? And that's equal to its valency. We take it there. And after that, the working is exactly similar to the one we were doing yesterday. So nitrogen plus oxygen -2 times 3 minus 6 equals to -1. So nitrogen would be -1 plus 6 plus 5, right? Simple maths. आमना आपने बेटा मुझे बताया नहीं अमोनियम में नाइट्रोजन टाइप करके बताया ना. I'm waiting. आप लोगों की बारी आएगी वैसे बता सकते हो. हाँ ठीक है. नहीं आमना it's not correct बेटा. Check it again. Yes.
Nitrogen will be -3.
-3. Yes, excellent. Ammonium में nitrogen is -3. सबकी I trust you and I won't come to see your notebooks. So it's +1. So Amna, it's like -3. Nitrogen or either hydrogen. One hydrogen is +1 and 4 hydrogen are +4. I said once you take the charge on the right hand side, after that you just ignore it. I mean, just see it's not there even because we have taken it equal to that. तो अब उसके बाद नहीं आपने उसको हैंडल करना बीच में. तो एक हाइड्रोजन +1 है तो 4 of them will be +4 equals to +1. तो nitrogen would be -3 here. Ammonium ion is very common one. So all these ions are very common, and you should do that practice it that much के paper में आपको working नहीं करनी पड़े, and you know it right away because in the exam stress at time when you do them in hurry तो फिर mistake हो जाती है. तो उसका फायदा नहीं है. अच्छे students जो prepare होते हैं ना, they have this advantage all the time. You know, they're always 1 or 2 steps ahead. Ji please. Over here. +5 इधर नहीं है देखो. This +1 is here. Nitrogen I'm finding 1 hydrogen is +1 and 4 hydrogen will be +4. That is equal to +1. So nitrogen equals to +1 और उधर जाके ये -4 होगा तो -3. Negative charge would come ना, larger number का charge appear होगा. MnO4 में -7 गलत होगा. मैंने ठीक है मान लिया. तो जल्दी किस बात की. मैंने पहले दिन कहा था कि क्विक आंसर देने की कोई ट्रॉफी नहीं है, आप लोग अपना टाइम लें. बट आई थिंक एलिजा इज चैंपियन फॉर ऑक्सीडेशन नंबर. शी इज डूइंग गुड. देखो मुझे पता है ना एज अ टीचर के किसका आंसर पहले ठीक होगा. अभी मैं तुम्हें पूछूंगा, डोंट वरी. ऐसा पूछूंगा जो नहीं आएगा ना. अच्छा, पर मैग्नेट MnO4 -1 में इट इज इक्वल टू -1 एंड मैग्नीज Oxygen minus 2 times 4 minus 8 equals to minus 1. So manganese will be minus 1 plus 8 will be plus 7. Plus 7. All right. क्या हुआ Ali? बताओ. You smell something weird?
Yes, there is smell aa rahi hai.
Natural gas. इधर तो the thing is नहीं सुई गैस है ना. The thing is के the whole commercial area doesn't have any natural gas. I mean they don't give connection to them. नहीं बस ज़्यादा आ रही हो तो बता देना. Then we'll escape to the roof. अच्छा अब एक लास्ट एग्जांपल कर लें. Then I'll move on to reduction oxidation. This 11th one is dichromate Cr2O7 minus 2, and in this dichromate ion we are doing chromium. Umar, आपने अभी join किया. I won't be able to hear you, but you can text in your question in the chat. We are doing the oxidation numbers of ions. और आज आप face to face नहीं आए हुए, but चलें कोई बात नहीं. Try and understand ions के oxidation number हम कर रहे हैं. We are taking them equal to their valency और उसके बाद बाकी steps are exactly similar. Chromium. कर लिया. Good. Abdullah. Hamza, you need calculator for this? All right. नहीं अभी वो equations इधर equal लो यार. You're a type A person. जी अब्दुल्ला बताओ. Chromium plus 6. Plus 6, yes. What is the fifth one? I can't see it because of the light. The fifth one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is MnO4 minus 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 नहीं. Cr2O7 2 minus dichromate. Cr2O7 2 minus है फातिमा. अच्छा देखिए बेटा बोर्ड पे chromium is plus 6 because this is minus 2 here, and we are working out one chromium. You could make it 2x even, or x, or just Cr2 or 2 Cr. Oxygen minus 14 minus 2 times 7 minus 14 equals to minus 2, and Cr2 is like plus 12 and Cr is plus 6. ठीक है. अच्छा अब one last and the trickiest of all, perhaps you won't get in an exam I'm sure, but let's at least try. आप लोगों ने ये वाले अच्छे किए तो I can take the chances, and that is ammonium nitrate में we would work out nitrogen. Easy. अच्छा अब the thing is के there are 2 nitrogens in it, so I would strongly recommend that आप उसको आयन की पूरी वैलेंसी ले लें अमोनियम की. That's a hint. Like instead of going after nitrogen and hydrogen, this is ammonium ion, right? And what is the charge on ammonium ion? Ammonium ion is positive 1, right? So for the whole NH4 thing, you could actually write just plus 1. ये 0 है. फिर nitrogen subject. Try this now. पूरे अमोनियम आयन की वैलेंसी ले लो प्लस 1, तो इसकी जगह आप क्या लिखोगे प्लस 1 बस. उसके बाद प्लस आगे नाइट्रोजन आएगा, फिर ऑक्सीजन आएगा, दैट इज इक्वल टू 0. नहीं 4 से नहीं बढ़ता क्योंकि देखो तो NH4 का चार्ज प्लस 1 है ना, द होल NH4 थिंग. प्लस 2. हाँ गलत. चेक कर लो अगर अपनी हालत. मोमेन आप बताएं. प्लस 5 यही है. अच्छा अब जरा देखें बोर्ड पे. See, when you come across a compound, ionic compound which doesn't have a metal in it, the ones which we were doing like salts इससे पहले ions उसमें issue नहीं था. अब it has two compound ions, एक ammonium है फिर nitrate है. So rather than going after nitrogen and hydrogen separately, you can take the charge of the whole ion there. Like ammonium, the salt name is like ammonium nitrate, right? And it's a compound. So the charge on the compound is 0. हमजा देखे बोर्ड पे पूरे कंपाउंड का चार्ज होता है 0, राइट? अब द चार्ज ऑन अमोनियम आयन जो लिस्ट आपने याद की हुई है, अमोनियम आयन इज +1. सो फॉर द होल NH4 थिंग आई वुड जस्ट सिंपली राइट +1. और इसके बाद नाइट्रोजन इज सब्जेक्ट. व्हाई? अभी बता रहा हूँ, फिर बता रहा हूँ. पूरे अमोनियम आयन का क्या चार्ज होता है? बस लिख दो, टेंशन क्या है, बस वो लिख देना. उसको आप ऐड करे नाइट्रोजन में, उसको ऐड करे ऑक्सीजन में. ऑक्सीजन का चार्ज -2 × 3 - 6 equals to 0, and the nitrogen would after that would be +5. ठीक है. इसके एक और एग्जाम्पल करा देता हूँ आपको कि एग्जाम में आ गया तो फिर यू नो यू विल हैव सम आइडिया कि ये कैसे किया था हमने.
तो वैसे हम नाइट्रोजन दोनों को मिला के N2 भी लिख सकते हैं.
नहीं नो. उसकी रीजन ये है दैट इंटरेस्टिंगली द चार्ज ऑन दिस नाइट्रोजन इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द चार्ज ऑन दिस नाइट्रोजन. दिस नाइट्रोजन चार्ज इज +5 बिकॉज ये वाला जो नाइट्रोजन है इट इज बॉन्डेड टू ऑक्सीजन एंड दिस नाइट्रोजन इज बॉन्डेड टू हाइड्रोजन. अब the good thing is कि हमने अमोनियम का भी निकाला हुआ है और नाइट्रेट का भी निकाला है. अमोनियम आयन में नाइट्रोजन इज -3 और नाइट्रेट में नाइट्रोजन इज +5. So technically I was working out the nitrogen of the nitrate in it. तो नाइट्रेट में नाइट्रोजन should come +5, यही वाला. और अब ये जो मैंने आपको मेथड बताया इट इज इजियर, इसमें मिस्टेक का चांस कम है. लाइक टेक द चार्ज ऑफ द होल आयन. But if you go by that method कि नाइट्रोजन अमोनियम आयन में, अब नाइट्रोजन अमोनियम आयन में -3 है, so you could take that over here -3 plus हाइड्रोजन 4. तो उसके बाद फिर आप उसको आगे नाइट्रोजन को सब्जेक्ट बना लो तो भी आंसर सेम आएगा. But it's very difficult for students to take nitrogen -3 there right away. तो उससे आसान तरीका क्या है कि you take the charge of the whole ion, अमोनियम, सल्फेट, नाइट्रेट, उनकी वैलेंसी डाल दें वहां पर. एक एग्जांपल आप और कर लें. अब से if we had अनइवन क्या लो यार, हमारी सेटिंग खराब होती रहेगी, मेरी सुबह हो जाएगी. ये करते रहो. ये लो 13. लेट्स ट्राई दिस अमोनियम सल्फेट और अमोनियम सल्फेट में वी डू सल्फर. अब इधर हिंट ले लें फिर सॉल्व करें इसको. अमोनियम सल्फेट में जब आप सल्फर निकालोगे तो अब आपने क्या करना है, पूरे अमोनियम का चार्ज ×2 कर देना बस, बाकी स्टेप सेम है. एंड द ओवरऑल चार्ज ऑन अमोनियम सल्फेट इज 0 अगेन. अब बताएं इसमें क्या होगा. +6. यस, लास्ट बॉल ठीक खेली तुमने. +6. So when I see a compound this big, +6. So instead of writing nitrogen or hydrogen separately, I'll see what ion is this. It's like ammonium ion and there are 2 of them. One of the ammonium is +1. So 2 ammonium would be +2. So +2 plus sulfur plus oxygen -2 × 4 -8 equals to 0. So sulfur is +6. इसका एक और easy तरीका भी है, ठीक है. An alternate easy way, Mr. Umar, and that is that when you see a compound like that, like which has 2 compound ions in it, ammonium sulfate, ammonium phosphate, typically ammonium salts, उन्हीं में ऐसा होगा. उसमें what you do is just take out the ion in which the elements oxidation number you are finding, right? Like what do we call this compound? Ammonium sulfate, and sulfur is part of sulfate, right? Once you see that sulfur is part of sulfate, you take out sulfate ion in the rough. सल्फेट क्या होता है? सल्फर -2 होता है और उसमें मैं सल्फर निकाल रहा हूँ बस. तो सल्फेट आयन में सल्फर हमने निकाला था आई गेस स्टार्ट में. दैट विल बी +6. उधर भी आप ये जैसे अमोनियम नाइट्रेट में जस्ट इग्नोर अमोनियम आयन, बट व्हेन यू इग्नोर अमोनियम आयन तो टेक नाइट्रेट आउट. Nitrogen is part of nitrate ion, right? So you could take the ion alone, or in the whole compound if you want to do the take the charge of the other ion rather than the atoms. ये थोड़ी मैंने आपको मुश्किल एग्जांपल्स करा दी एंड पे because you people responded well to this concept. Otherwise IGCSE में we don't have that much of depth. It could come. Nowhere in the syllabus it says कि जी ammonium salts oxidation numbers cannot be asked. और थोड़े पुराने पेपर्स में पूछते भी रहे एग्जाम में. अच्छा, अब थोड़ा सा इससे आगे मूव करेंगे. दैट इज रिडक्शन, ऑक्सीडेशन, रिडॉक्स, एंड डोंट फॉरगेट आवर चैप्टर इज इलेक्ट्रोकेमिस्ट्री. वी नीड टू गो बैक टू इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस एक्सपेरिमेंट्स फॉर व्हिच वी नीड ऑल दिस कांसेप्ट, राइट? अच्छा जी. So before doing anything of redox reactions, let's start with the definitions part first. One is reduction. Reduction is a process which can be defined in 3 different ways, right? There are the 3 different definitions for reduction. So I'll be writing all the 3. Reduction is loss of oxygen. I mean, if anything loses oxygen, we say it's reduction. And it is gain of hydrogen and gain of electron. So gain of electron is more important. Gain of electron or decrease in oxidation number. The second definition for reduction is gain of electron which results into decrease in oxidation number. ये मैं explain करूँगा सारा, what does it all mean. And the third definition for reduction is gain of hydrogen. Okay, so if you see a reaction in which you see some substance is losing oxygen, I mean reactant it has oxygen and product side it doesn't have oxygen, so we say the reduction has taken place in it, right? Here, if you see a reaction where you see electrons being added to something, being electron negatively charged, right? So if something will gain electrons, so that will become more negative. If I add electrons into something, electrons are negative particles. When I add electrons to something, it will gain more negative charge, and more negative charge means its positive charge will decrease. So we say gain of electron or decrease in oxidation number is also reduction process. And the third is gain of hydrogen. I mean, if anything gains hydrogen, we say it's hydrogen atoms. So we say it's reduced. Among the 3 definitions of reduction, could you people try and guess which is the most important definition of reduction?
Loss of electron and gain of oxidation. The second one. Gain of
second wali. Haan, very good. And why is that?
Second, electrons, we deal with electrons.
We deal with electrons all the time. वैसे in my teaching I'm learning a lot of things, still learning, and what I've learned, one of the things which I've learned recently is that if students give one correct answer, don't ask another one, because mostly that is the wrong answer. So this definition is the most acceptable or valid or important definition, and the reason for that is not any fancy reason you're giving me, is that not every reaction has oxygen in it. And not every reaction has hydrogen in it. I mean, so many reactions, for example, iron could react with chlorine and it makes iron 2 chloride. If I keep looking this reaction as reduction or not in terms of first and last definition, तो ना इसमें oxygen है, ना इसमें hydrogen है. Umar, you understand what I said? This reaction, ना इसमें oxygen है, ना इसमें hydrogen है. Tell me what does that say? एक second.
No, it doesn't have oxygen, it doesn't have hydrogen.
Did you really understand this?
Yeah.
Or you made the sense out of it?
I'm trying to make sense.
That's how you learn the language, by the way. So this reaction won't fit to first or third definition, but definitely fits to the second definition. In fact, if a reaction is reduction, it will definitely have gain of electrons in it. ठीक है? और वो कैसे होगा भी मैं थोड़ी देर में बताऊंगा. I'll erase this equation. अब इसका opposite, entirely opposite is oxidation. The second part, reduction and oxidation. I mean, if I switch everything in three definitions, that will become oxidation. Oxidation is gain of oxygen, loss of electron, loss of hydrogen. Three different ways to define oxidation. Gain of oxygen, loss of electron. If something loses electron, it becomes more positive. So we say increase in oxidation number. Loss of electron or increase in oxidation number is oxidation, and then loss in hydrogen. Loss of hydrogen. Okay. So reduction, oxidation, together they're called redox reactions, right? Redox reactions. Redox word has come from two parts. Redox, RED for reduction, OX for oxidation, redox reaction. So a reaction involving reduction and oxidation, both. Reaction involving reduction and oxidation. As an example or examples to all this, the first one. And that reaction that I just wrote earlier, और मैंने उसको erase कर दिया, now we'll write it here. A very simple redox reaction. This is a simple redox reaction where the equation is balanced already, and iron shows, iron reacting with chlorine to make iron 2 chloride salt. So I'll be explaining a few things on this reaction. I would want you guys look at the board, try and make a sense of it. क्योंकि इसके बाद फिर we have tricky examples to do. और जैसे आप लोगों ने redox oxidation number किया, I'm sure कि you'll find them easy. अब देखें मेरा बोर्ड. Everyone. अब iron, for deciding all the reduction and oxidation and redox stuff for all this, the first thing you should do is put oxidation number to the reactants and products. Like oxidation number of elements in reactants and products, you have to put that by the method that we done, right? उससे आप put करोगे. So iron का oxidation number in the reactant side is 0. Why is it 0? Because it's a free element. it has not reacted with anything yet, right? Iron free है, अभी देखो इसने किसी से bond नहीं किया, it's not bonded to anything yet. So if something is not bonded to anything, it has all the electrons with it. It did not lose any electron. It did not gain any electron. It is having no charge on it. So iron is zero, neutral. So what you do is, like, we put charges on all the elements, oxidation numbers on all the elements, reactants and products सब side पे. अच्छा, अब try and tell me the oxidation number of chlorine. What would be chlorine? उसमें टेबल में देख के बताया मेरा. Chlorine's oxidation number will be 0 because it is a free element. Free elements are the ones in which they are bonded with the same type, right? Chlorine with chlorine. अब उसकी reason बड़ी obvious है. In Cl2, I've got 2 chlorine atoms, right? Look at the board. देखिए board पे. अब I can't say that this chlorine is positive and this is negative. I mean, they're both same, right? So none of them is stronger than the other, in other words. So none of them has positive, negative charge. In fact, they have no charges. So if they don't have any charges, the whole molecule is zero. So Cl2, H2, free elements, diatomic molecules, they're all neutral, zero, no charge. But when I come to product side, iron 2 chloride, it is a compound. इसमें iron's oxidation number, अब the way we were doing earlier, iron का oxidation number अगर आपको निकालना है तो quickly the rough में मैं निकाल दूंगा, वैसे आसान है. What is the overall charge on iron 2 chloride? It is zero, compound है. अब we working out iron. Iron subject हो गया, 1 chlorine is -1, 2 chlorine are -2, that equals to 0, right? Iron will be +2.
Why is chlorine -1?
Rules में लिखा है. Group 7 elements oxidation number is -1. So chlorine is understood to be -1. Iron is transition element. It could have different valencies. So we work out iron here. So iron oxidation number +2. And against that, chlorine's oxidation number, 2 chlorine are -2. What is 1 chlorine? -1. So we write the oxidation number of one atom. जैसे dichromate में हम निकाल रहे हैं. So 1 chlorine is -1. All right. Up still it's not done. We need to decide this. Now look at the board. Iron is going from 0 to +2, and chlorine is going from 0 to -1. All right. So what is happening to the oxidation number, or you say charge of iron? The charge of iron goes from 0 to +2. It is increasing, right? It's increase in oxidation number. So what's increase in oxidation number? Increase in oxidation number is oxidation, because it lost electrons, right? If something would lose electron, only then it becomes more positive, because electrons are negative, right? So I would say that iron is being oxidized, oxidation. Iron is oxidized. And what's happening to chlorine? Dekho, it goes from 0 to -1. So 0, -1, decrease in oxidation number. Decrease in oxidation number is reduction. So chlorine is being reduced. So if I see a reaction in which something is oxidized, something is reduced, I would call it a redox reaction. So this is a redox reaction. और इसमें examiner आपसे पूछेगा क्या कि जी, what is reduced in it, what is oxidized in it. So how would you answer all that? By putting the oxidation numbers. ठीक है? In this example, if you have a question, you should ask, because this will be following more slightly bigger equations. Baki concept is all same. Okay. Up to learn the next concept properly, you need to really revise the oxidation number rules and the examples we done. अगर आप वो नहीं करोगे तो फिर the other examples, equations you won't understand, because this is the smallest redox equation I've written. Okay. So that's all for today. Do revise and prepare acid-base salts for tomorrow. ठीक है बेटा, चल. Online में किसी का कोई question है तो पूछना है. That's all from my side.